playoff football. Glorious. Legends made both of mastery and means. Pain inflicted throughout the land as only one can be crowned Lord of the Gridiron. Shit's been predictable these past few years, and we merely pray that things change up. It's gonna be the Chiefs again, isn't it? Remember when people loved them for overthrowing the evil empire? Good times. At Mile High, the levels of hopium have reached critical mass. Of course, when a team was supposed to be terrible and finally experiences a modicum of success, any fanbase will be talking shit. Bo Nix is the future, they'll scream from the mountaintops. Nick Bonito is a cornerstone, they'll cry at microbreweries 50 feet apart. Patrick Surtain and Sean Payton are gods amongst men. As long as you don't tell them their schedule merchants have only beaten one legit opponent over 500. But hey, house money's a hell of an aphrodisiac. They're probably gonna get ritually slaughtered by Bills, yet they'll have a shit-eating grin as the knife is thrust in them. The Broncos made it back. The pain is dull. It's impressive yet fleeting. Enjoy this. Even if it is likely a one and done. What a difference a month makes. The chance at the AFC North title and legitimate championship contention is apparently too ambitious after a 10-3 start. The Steeler ways mediocrity, and 2020 lights the way to go. Well, boys, Tomlin got his over 500 record again. 9-8 Super Bowl's been reached, time to back it in. The jobber to the stars is all the reward they need. The cheap parlor tricks and sideshows get blown away by real teams. And with Russ playing the worst football of the season and George Pickens embracing the time-honored cancerous whiteout tradition, fan apathy is at record highs. This team is either going to get destroyed by the Ravens or have the most fluke win when they should lose by 30. And the worst part is that nothing's going to change and they'll be using TJ Watt and Chris Boswell as crutches for the next 5 years. Why have a consistent offense when you can have splash plays and fluke bullshit? Before you say anything, this is how Tomlin wants this team run. Why do you think Arthur Smith's here? Who's got it better than them? A lot of teams, actually, but the Charger way is now molded with Jim Harbaugh's handprint. Methodical, precise, khaki pant-driven football that's a defensive wall. One of the best units in the game on that end, countered by an offense of Justin Herbert and Ravens cast-offs. Don't talk shit, J.K. Dobbins is the real key to their production. Plus Ladd McConkey becoming an outstanding receiver in his own right. And Quentin Johnston sometimes catches things. It's not the sexiest operation in the world, but it's efficient. And shedding the miserable reign of Staley has led Liquid LA to an interesting position. A desire for more, yet always fearing the inevitable pain that tends to follow this franchise everywhere they go. This tremendous turn of fortune will lead to a blessed outcome. Having their hearts ripped out at Arrowhead yet again. You ever win something you in no way deserve to? That's been the story of these Houston Texans. Frauds that rival Charles Ponzi winning a terrible division by default. If you haven't been paying attention, you'd ask me why I'm saying this about a Super Bowl contender. Well, the offense bolted and shriveled like Bobby Slowick's reputation. Like their offensive line, a poorly controlled, oft-penalized calamity. Laremy Tunsil made a Pro Bowl, and the only thing he did was commit wave after wave of false starts. The receiving core's destroyed. If Joe Mixon isn't doing anything, it's useless. Turns out CJ Stroud can't throw when he's blitzed. It doesn't matter if their edge rushers and secondary is elite if that offense is gonna die most drives. Evolution? More like slumlords. Have you seen the rest of the AFC South? They're even more incompetent. Every year, the Ravens give their fans endless reasons to have unbelievable hype. Lamar Jackson MVP campaigns, a defense that's playing its best football headed into January, and bribing a king to change sides and crush the poor souls that happen to be in his way. It's lining up on paper to be a charmed city. As long as Zay Flowers comes back soon, they'll have all the pieces needed to finally slay the January demons. This is the best team the Ravens have had since the days Lewis and Reed were roaming the field. An electric offense flush with depth and game changers nearly everywhere you look. But they keep blowing games for some reason. And their pass defense somehow gives up yards en masse. The early part of their campaign was full of it. And it shows the greatest threat to their own success. Themselves. For the love of God, don't fuck this up. Play if Lamar shows up again, I'm gonna burn everything to the ground. Or whine and demand Harbaugh's firing. The eternal bridesmaid. Even in a year where they were expected to take a step back, the Bills will circle the wagons and shoot anyone that dares enter Highmark Stadium. Mostly whatever was supposed to be their competition in the AFC East. The Dolphins. The Jets. Josh Allen shits on these fools without having to lift a finger. He's like 90% of their team at this point. Okay, closer to 80 since James Cook's emerged as a legit bell cow. You'll ogle at the shiny objects, yet ignore the significant red flags in their operation. They start out slowly in first halves, and their defense can get pretty damn porous at sudden moments. Josh has had a season for the ages. He's gonna need to push even more to get them to promised lands beyond. This means they're getting their hearts broken again, isn't it? Oh, Lord, how are you gonna do it this time, Buffalo? Mike Tomlin thought he mastered the art of bullshit. Andy Reid spent all offseason in a film room perfecting its formula for mass consumption. If you thought last year was sorcery the NFL hasn't seen since the Patriots, the Chiefs only managed to become more efficient and fortunate in their outcomes. A toe out of bounds, a pass interference penalty, a no-call pass interference, blocked field goals, the Panthers and Chargers botched snaps. The devil magic and dark mana have been mastered by the team no one wants to win. Oh no, the poor feeble Chiefs are weakened. And then Mahomes puts in the game genie and they win at the last second. That or their rock-solid defense will do the rest. They're also getting healthy at the right time. Hoping for a one and done, but let's be real, this is God's chosen team. Pay your tithe at the altar. The more things change, the more they stay the same. After a stunning season where they unfortunately legitimized the seed that should not exist, they remain in the same spot. It's what tends to happen when you're in a division with two ungodly juggernauts that proceed to own you all season. The Packers have the grand misfortune of entering the playoffs with no momentum whatsoever. If you're a key player, you've probably been injured. Even Jordan Love, or should I say the reincarnation of Brett Favre. Dead serious, he's far minus the dick pic bit. Josh Jacobs has been an absolute godsend for their running game. But they go from dynamos to an inconsistent receiving game in the blink of an eye. Not to mention that lack of cornerback depth. Especially without Jair. They've made us laugh hysterically before, but you know what they say about lightning striking twice. You just hope they have enough guys back to get it done. What a glorious day in the world of football. Commies have made the playoffs and Dan Snyder can't try to milk it for his own gain. Cleaning up the cataclysmic shit pile he created has gone faster than anticipated. It's all thanks to a lifeline from the gods, Jaden Daniels. Blessed with the feet of RG3 and a reliable rocket arm. He's guided this moribund franchise from the heart of darkness to a new core identity. A fun football team. I know, crazy to think about the old reskins. The most magical season since they drunkenly stumbled into Tank Division. And it's masking a bunch of problems. Mostly that the run defense has turned to shit since Jonathan Allen's been out. They did acquire Marshawn Lattimore so we can go another round with Mike Evans if need be. Even if they lose badly, it's pretty much house money. I dare say, the culture might be turning damn good. Might. Remember when we figured Minnesota was going to be bad this year? You know, the nightmare of an off-season they went through, we'd understand it. Sam Darnold starting football games? What the hell are they gonna do, get 14 wins? They did. Huh. Who the hell saw this coming? With God Emperor's involved, the only thing we witness are spirals to Jefferson and Addison. Amazing what good structure and coaching can do. Turning a team supposedly dead to rights into a true contender. And the pain doesn't stop. Comfortable on offense? Brian Flores' defense merely spams the blitz button. Leading, blitz. Trailing, blitz. In the locker room, all-out blitz. It's a very boom-bust team, mostly depending on the guy under center himself. The light's gonna be too bright. Darnold turned into a pumpkin against Detroit. And this is his audition to keep the Vikings' job. Don't blow it, Sam. If you fail, you're getting a one-way ticket to the Giants. And there's no more room in hell, the dead shall roam the earth. A team left to rot after starting the year 1-4, devastated by injuries, having little to show in a mid-tier drift into the abyss. But they were infected. LA stumbles and shuffles as a reanimate. And they've been hard to kill since the bye. Matthew Stafford leading an offense that's been quite cold these past few weeks. But then somehow go toe-to-toe with the wagon and the Bills, so yeah. The paradox of the Rams. They might have won a weak division because the Niners were cursed by their own hex, but LA don't care. When the Necronomicon's involved, logic is futile. Which is why a team with a minus 21-point differential made it to the dance in general. More shenanigans with Kyron Cooper and Puka and Bound. What could finally finish them off? Perhaps being forced to relocate this game might. Look at this duck. This bird is the key to Tampa Bay's success. Before he graced Raymond James with his majestic presence, the Bucs were in a world of trouble. Picked off by apex injuries one by one. Losing 4 games in a row, being swept by those damn Falcons. It's over? Sorry, Baker couldn't hear you. He's too busy dicing up defenses with the best play of his career. No running game? Tell that to Bucky Irving. Sleeper offense with quality talents when they aren't turning the ball over at any given time. It probably has more to do with the pathetic division they're in, but the Bucs are still a formidable team to face. If only they weren't dealing with attrition. Let's see, no Godwin, an injured secondary, no true edge rushers. Welcome to the second tier, Bucs. I don't know if it's going to be the wild card, but someone's feasting on roast duck this January. Last year's collapse was a wake-up call. Living proof that a shitload of offensive talent couldn't just coast through life expecting wins handed to them. Aggression and precision were needed to fulfill their ambitions. Jalen can't do it all. I'd say bringing in one of the best running backs in the game and letting him go ham helps out a ton with that. Saquon's given their offense much-needed balance, despite their passing game somehow vanishing for long stretches at a time, but dude, it's fucking Saquon. Not to mention that defense has done a 180 from this time last year. If you're an offense, you're getting locked up at Guantanamo Bay, by which player depends on who they're fancying. The most loaded team on paper gearing up for a run rivaling the best teams in franchise history. Tush pushing their way to glory one thrust at a time. Losing by 20 last year, they might win a game by 20 this time. If only there wasn't someone that could potentially sabotage the entire operation with his incompetence. Nah, that's probably just my imagination. Detroit has answered a question long pondered by football scholars. Can you claim a number one seed with a defense full of personal trainers and insurance salesmen? Have you seen the sheer volume of injured players on that side of the ball? They could have fielded an entire unit off the IR alone at some points. Yet the Motor City cannot be stopped. That offense shits on anything that's supposed to resemble an opposition. Jahmyr Gibbs taking the world by the balls and Jared Goff following him in tandem. And he's not throwing random interceptions. Even not at full strength, they're a powerhouse. And you should tremble. Miracles are coming. They're gonna be getting David Montgomery back. There's a very small chance Aiden Hutchinson could be back. It's probably gonna cost them at least 3 or 4 more players, but fuck it. Dan Campbell's gonna be ultra aggressive just to be safe. You thought he went for it on 4th down a lot before? You ain't seen nothing yet. With how porous that 4th string defense can be, it's a guarantee. This season has taken us from football heaven to the depths of unwatchable hell. When there's money to be made, the product does not matter. Yet the playoffs are a different beast. In the end, there can be only 2 contenders dueling for the ultimate prize. I'm not even gonna try to be optimistic it's gonna be Chiefs versus Eagles. The matchup no one outside those cities want because the football gods desire salt. They're shitposters at heart. Very predictable ones, but I respect the dedication. We all hope for something different, but we said that last year. Look what happened. Regardless, good luck to all teams involved. They're probably gonna need it.
The building. If he has to make one for us, with the game on the line, he will. 44 yards, Bass. No, he doesn't make it. Wide right. Wow. The 2 most dreaded words in Buffalo have surfaced again.